Hey everyone! Avengers Infinity War released its first trailer this week, and we got new looks at Thanos, the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, pretty much all the Marvel characters we've come to know and love over these past 10 years. And yes, by the looks of it, one or more of them will not survive this movie.
Too many people.
Uh-oh. Which
Not
of
that
our...
super, are you?
Which one of them are gonna survive? Which will reach their tragic ends in the MCU narrative, or more likely be considered expendable for not being able to carry their own solo movies? Ooh.
As long as they don't join the
negative way of
Winter has come.
Is that a Winter Soldier thing?
It was just a frosty thing because it was cold.
Oh.
Well, this is
Snap.
the Need to Know, everyone. It's a weekly deep dive into all the biggest news this week. So in addition to Infinity War, we're also going to talk about some other big Marvel news and Justice League. We're going to compare the different visions of the movie from Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon.
Whoa.
Vision.
Vision.
Working it back in. We're also going to check in with you guys on Stardust. You can click our Stardust download link in the description below so you can upload your reactions to your favorite movies and TV shows, tag us at New Rockstars, and then get them featured on this show. By the way, I'm Erik Voss. Joining me at the table are...
Sam, Bashor.
Maude, Garrett.
I love just
Seamless.
talking. And I'm looking around. Oh, there are people on either side of me who I'm desperate to introduce. Okay, let's get started. Our top story this week is the Avengers Infinity War trailer.
Yeah.
Everyone is talking about this, guys. It's
Yes.
It broke the record for the most viewed trailer within 24 hours.
A lot of people are
230
saying,
million.
yeah, there's more people that have seen the trailer than more people that saw Justice League, the full movie.
Stings.
We gotta get our fact check. That sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
I'm not gonna.
Did
doubt
you
that.
guess the numbers game already? Because I think you got it right.
Oh, is that the...
That would have been funny
Oh,
if
okay.
it was.
Oh, man.
Well, check out our breakdown that is now on our channel for all the stuff that you missed. I think we found some goodies in there. But for what we're going to talk about here, let's actually hear from Ben, who is awesome. And he sent us a ton of thoughts on Infinity War on the trailer to us on Stardust. Ben, take it away.
One more thing about Iron Man. When you watch the trailer, you can actually see the credits where he's in like a gold background. And it actually looks like he's crying. Now, I believe this is a death because of someone, and I think it's either like Vision because he created Vision and stuff. So obviously that would be one, or someone else like Black Widow.
Ben!
Ben, you're my favorite.
You're the best.
No more. Because yeah, he's definitely got his eye on the prize with the tear.
Yes, he does.
I
Ben,
missed
Does someone
that.
have to die to cry though? Oh, make that a shirt because it rhymes.
There you go.
Does someone have to die?
Oh, I already know who's dying. Oh, I figured it out. Sorry, we'll get into that, though.
well, Ben, that's right. Vision created through a fusion of Tony Stark's Jarvis AI and Ultron's synthetic body and mind. So yeah, he definitely seems to be in some huge danger. That brings up one of the most interesting mysteries of Avengers Infinity War. Which of these Marvel heroes will survive? Which won't? Infinity War is planned to be only the first part of a two-part event. Marvel head Kevin Feige has said the second of those two, Avengers 4, will be the end of Marvel Phase 3, hinting for sure at a changing of the guard at that point. Now, watching this trailer, yeah, we can kind of speculate. Vision, Iron Man, Spider-Man appear to be the most directly in physical danger, but we
Don't
have been.
touch my Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean he's got a whole
No,
life
watch it,
ahead of
he's
him,
probably
right?
a minor.
He's got like
no one
6
should touch him.
movies, though.
Right, yeah, they're gonna be
one fan.
milking that cow forever.
Well,
yeah,
definitely don't milk him.
yeah, right. Poor choice of words. Phrasing. We have been misled by trailers before, right? Civil War did make it seem like War Machine was straight up dead. So we
Yeah.
can't go directly off of the trailers. We don't even know if this footage is actually going to make it into the final movie as is.
Yeah, they had to make it look like Bucky was the one who just shot him straight in the chest
Right.
at like 30,000 feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool.
So they have a ton of money. They can shoot and include things in the trailer that won't be in the movie. But I think for now it'd be good to go through each of these characters and for us to consider whether or not we think they will survive Infinity War. What do you guys think? Yeah?
Yep.
That's
Ready.
fun game.
Let us start with the three old dogs, Tony Stark, Steve
Dead.
Rogers, and
Dead.
Thor.
Dead.
So what do you guys think?
Okay, so Thor's gonna make it just because they finally nailed it. Also,
Oh, yeah.
unless it's like,
He's a maybe.
unless they're like, when someone like it's on their last stand, he already got his eye knocked out, he lost his whole home, and from the trailer, I'm like, there's a chance that the ship that they escaped on, the Asgardians, spoilers for Thor, but we've talked about that before. His whole people
talked
might
about
be
it
dead.
before.
Yeah, all of his people might be just totally gone.
Eradicated.
So
He's
yeah,
got no purpose and no point. And he got dumped. Poor bastard. Really, there's no hope for him at all.
exactly.
He could just die.
Tony Stark, it would just mean the most because that's the one that everyone can get behind. And Steve Rogers, he's been He's been alive for so long.
You're looking at it from like a story point of view. I'm looking at it a contractual point of view. They can't keep affording to the Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. There's no way. Like that's like, you want to talk about milking. They have milked his the budget through just his paycheck alone. And he's done. He started off in 2008. May that movie came out, which means probably 2 years before that was pre-production. He'd signed on. That's over a decade. The boy is done, and he's not a boy. Then you've got my mate Chris. Which Chris is this one again? Because there's like 10
Hemsworth.
Wait, middle one?
Yeah.
Evans.
Oh, Evans?
Evans, yeah.
Evans. Does he still want to be Cap? I reckon he's done.
He seems the most done out of all of those.
Yeah.
Out of all those people.
Yeah, all their contracts are up, including Scarlett Johansson. And I think this is, it might be the time. I would see, I think Robert Downey Jr. might have the most incentive just because he is being thrown millions of dollars on his lap. Like, he said he was done at Iron Man 3, right? He said that was going to be his final. And then they were able to coax him to come back for Age of Ultron and for Civil War, and I think
even Spider-Man.
I would say.
Wait, and also, sorry, we were talking, I think, off camera. Maybe it was in the last episode. You said there's a significant like monetary jump by putting Robert Downey Jr. in these movies. So I think Marvel is willing to pay out whatever it is to get that kind of cash.
But I mean, what other bodies of work has he done? I think he 2-3 years ago he put out a movie.
Yeah, with like Robert Duvall or somebody like that.
Duvall.
Yeah, it was some judge movie.
The Judge.
That's it.
Oh, he was the judge. Yeah.
And that didn't do incredibly well at the box office. But like, is he the kind of artist actor that's thinking this is deterring from what I really want to be doing? And I think yes, he needed Iron Man to re-propel his career, and now that it's done that in such a great way, I think he wants to break off like Hulk. From the ship.
There's a ship, and
just
he went over
sail
there.
and then get lost and get into a real dark place real quick. But who knows, right?
Yeah, and I think narratively speaking, Cap might have the biggest target on his back. His shield is colored and shaped like a target. He has, well, I mean, spoiler for some of the comics, but Steve Rogers has been used in the past as kind of this scapegoat figure, this sacrificial lamb whose death has been used to convey the impact. All these characters have died in different points in the comics. I'm not really spoiling anything, especially they could die, and they have the time stone. They could reverse all their deaths. So don't think that even their deaths will be permanent.
No one ever really dies.
No one ever really dies. It's comics. But I would say that when in the past Steve Rogers, Captain America's death has been used in comics, it was to make a political statement that I could see one of these Infinity War Part 1 or Part 2 trying to echo again. What does it mean when the Captain America dies? Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think out of all of them, if I were to just vote on one, probably Chris Evans. He seems like he's ready to go. You got Bucky ready to go. You could have Falcon take over if you wanted to. You have like a little
fledglings, I want to call them.
There you go.
Yep.
I was a crew. I was you had understudies ready to go take up the role, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to some more Avengers here. Bruce Banner, Hulk, and Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. What do you guys think about their chances?
Bruce, or Mark Ruffalo, said in an interview that he and Feige came up with a 3-movie arc from Ragnarok on. No, he's
That's
good.
I think he's safe. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but Black Widow, I've never seen her like totally like in it. You know, like she's not like.
But again, she was in an Iron Man. Like she's been doing this character for the longest, just not for the most concentrated, solo movie-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is there room for it? Is the climate showing that she could have her own movie? Yes. I'm not counting her out. And she just got a makeover. So that means they've still got something to give. Because she's blonde now. And guess what, guys? They do have more fun. Put the finger guns down. No,
unless it becomes a
mean,
horror movie, then they are
Die
more likely to
first.
be done.
Yeah.
Right? Working that rhyme.
I actually think that they're both probably safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that Age of Ultron sort of love, whatever that was, had so much room to grow. It was kind of there and then nothing. And then it's like, they got to kiss and make up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you got a little hint of that in the trailer, which was kind of cool.
Right. Yeah, I pointed this out in the breakdown, but I like the way the Hulkbuster arm was stretched out. It almost felt like she was ready just to go across the Hulkbuster
Wait,
arm.
what is it? It was like the sun's going down. The sun's going down. Yeah.
Hey, big guy.
Hey, big guy. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to another grouping, kind of the arguably B-list of the Avengers, including Hawkeye, Scott Lang, Rhodey, and Sam Wilson, AntMan, all those guys. How do we feel about them?
100% we've got Falcon for ages. As long as Anthony Mackie gets offered the job, he's going to take the job.
Yeah. And Scott's got a movie coming right at just 2 months after this one comes out. So he's probably good.
Yeah.
Rhodey, man, like you really put him through the ringer and haven't given him any growth at all. Don't kill him. Like, just don't. Don't do that. That's not fair. Just make him like make him like how they handled like Black Panther. They introduced this new character, but he was also like a through line for Civil War. How it was like, oh, his father's death actually is propelling him to go on a mission.
Yeah.
Rhodey, like he's now paralyzed. Like make that like that could be a really cool thing of like going up against this and like threats.
Fury?
Maybe,
Oh,
maybe
sure,
he could take over as Iron Man. There's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of
'cause
things.
You don't need legs to fly.
Yeah, no. Oh, you put like a little thing in there. You can walk again.
Boop, boop, boop.
Make little robot legs.
Yeah. Oh my
Little
gosh.
boop, boop, boop.
Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, boop, boop,
So
boop.
easy with the boop.
Yeah.
I think there is a scenario where Ant-Man could go, only because they've been jumping around in the timeline. I've been lately piecing together the MCU timeline, and it jumps around even more than I realized. And we all know there was that whole thing with Homecoming where it took place like 8 years after the events of Avengers, but also at the same time Civil War did. So there's like a big time thing there. I'm wondering if the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp will take place earlier than what we might think. I don't know. I there's a chance that it could be earlier in the timeline, and then that's why we haven't really seen Ant-Man in the Infinity War trailer.
Oh my goodness! There's a shot in the Civil War comic where they had Goliath, he was like Giant Man. They had Thor for some reason goes crazy. He's like a robot or something. Blows a hole through Goliath's chest, and he dies as a giant.
Right.
Imagine if Scott Lang's like, I got Thanos, and he does like Giant Man goes in, Thanos stops the punch, and they would never get that violent, but like. That would be pretty cool. I would suck for him to die, but like it would be pretty cool.
Well, you can't spell giant without ant. So
It's been staring us in the face all this time.
You just needed a blonde. I'm kidding. What does that even mean anymore? I'm milking it.
Let's move on to another pairing: Vision and Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch.
Both dying.
Yeah, they're both
Gonzo.
gone.
Both dead? Like, I don't know.
I actually think we'll see a lot of their relationship in this one because he no longer is sort of Vision. You see him as the Paul Bettany, and I think that that's like the last hurrah that they're going to get. They're going to realize this relationship could be perfect, and then it's going to be taken away from us, and that's where we get tears.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think I don't really see a future for either of these characters, at least beyond the second Avengers Infinity War movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see either of them hosting their own movie franchise. I could see them more valuable in terms of like narrative gut punch and killing them off, unfortunately.
100%. Well, his purpose is in his forehead.
Right.
I'm in America. Forehead. And with that gone, which we kind of know that that's happening, he's sort of gone. And then her only purpose is to have a relationship with him now that her bro is, oh, you did not see that coming. He didn't, and he's dead. Whoops. I could be more sympathetic about that. That's fine.
I mean, he wasn't that great. It's fine.
You would hate to say that that's her only purpose, but so far that has been really,
it.
like she's such a rich character that you could get a lot more out of her.
In Civil War, you got a little bit more. It was trying to that no one really knows what to do with her because she's so powerful. If she really lost control, which you could get that in this, if you did kill off Vision, you had her just lose her goddamn mind.
Just be like Dark Phoenix all over again kind of thing.
There you go.
And that was kind of cool though. Like that was
the idea of it was cool. It wasn't as cool.
That moment where he's like Wolverine's body is ripping apart to try and save her was romantic and really violent.
I do love Kelsey Grammer jumping around, roaring all over the place, isn't it? I wish that was a part of these movies. I'll be honest.
I wish I was a part of Frasier, but well, let's the next three seem like safe bets here, just because it does seem like they are probably gonna have future films and like so Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther. Now only Spider-Man seems like because Tom Holland let slip in interviews that there probably will be 2 more films, but the success of Doctor Strange and the probable success of Black Panther will probably give them
Well, they haven't even started their journey yet. I mean, we're comparing this to Iron Man, which has been going on for over a decade. And these guys are just getting the wind in their sails. We got to let them soar, you know?
Yeah. No, I think they're all safe. Also, that's a dope Black Panther picture. That's a really cool one with the
Which
guns.
one is that?
Is that one with the guns?
Ta-Nehisi Coates run?
I'm not sure, but that's a really cool picture. No, I think they're all
Realistically,
safe.
though, if his nails are out, he would be stabbing himself in the hand and whatever.
Not ideal.
Do you know, also, I've got to get this off my chest. Do you guys remember the Family Guy episode where they all get superpowers and Meg is just to grow her nails?
Yeah, I remember.
Every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, Meg.
And it's just like a little bit. Yeah.
It's just a little bit. But I really like Black Panther, and I think he can do some amazing things.
Great. Moving on to our next group, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket, Drax, Gamora, Nebula, and Mantis. Now, I think the only one of that group that I think we might have to worry about would be Nebula.
I'm thinking the same thing because of the plot point and the characters.
Because the plot point, the relationship with Thanos, and what Nebula plays a very big role in the Infinity War comics. Yeah. So I could see her having to play some role like as Thanos is not really the only one.
I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, she could almost be like the Cap thing, where the Cap, with his honor, would sacrifice himself to save the group. But in a way, like, she would... It's that turning point where she realizes this is something that she has to do, not wants to do. And so she would do it. And then, you know, Gamora would be like, I knew you had it in you.
I think Gamora might die in this movie. I think she might... Weirdly, because I think she's going to, like, get... Her and Nebula are going to get wrapped up in trying to kill... Thanos, and that could lead to her coming back because they'll bring her back and she'll be in like the third Guardians movie to like wrap it all up. I don't think she'd be permanently dead, but there's like this big plot point with her. I just spit and went over. That was cool. But there's a big. There it is. Oh, cool. You can zoom in right over there. It's right there. There's a big plot point where she kind of has to interact with the Soul Stone. It makes her like a more rich character. So there is something you could do there. Also, if you just want to take a little bit of a risk, kill one of this team, like one person.
Who
maybe
would you want to go?
Maybe Gamora or Drax, because Drax's like whole drive is to kill Thanos.
Yeah,
like that's his whole thing to avenge his family.
We got that a lot. Sorry, in number 2, right? His backstory was it number 2?
Yeah, and him going crazy in the first one, like making Ronin's forces come. That's what it was. So I could see them, the people who are most obsessed with killing Thanos, dying, but they definitely come back. 100%.
Or is there not glory in one of them actually getting the finishing move in there, the sense of fulfillment? Or has everyone just got to die because that's what happens?
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Man, it's a ripple effect. You throw a little pebble in this pond, it's going to affect everything.
Yeah, I think it just depends on like how much fun does Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios want to have with each of these characters? And I feel like the Guardians, there's still so much potential for different alternate stories. And I think that also applies to our next group, like the people we met in Thor Ragnarok and we've seen in the Thor franchise, Loki, Valkyrie, Korg, Heimdall, of course, and then also side characters from Doctor Strange like Wong and the upcoming Black Panther, Okoye, played by Michonne from Walking Dead. The actress has a name, Denai Guerrero. But I think there's a lot of chance because these are kind of lieutenant level characters. Yeah, a lot of them could go, but I don't think any of them will. I think there's just a lot of fun to be had with all these guys.
If it's not necessary, don't do it.
Yeah.
They're in the Infinity Gauntlet story, they're Mephisto, who's like the devil of Marvel. He is like the sidekick who's kind of like strung along with Thanos to watch what he does. Loki could be that character where he's 100%. Like, where he finally reaches the point of like, I can't get away anymore, of like, if I run, he'll kill me. So maybe I can kind of like weasel my way in here and figure out a way to like, if it would be pretty great if he, like the trickster, somehow got it on his own arm. Like if he got the Infinity Gauntlet for himself.
I feel like he would, I mean, he's going to betray the group again because that's what he does. That's what he does
in his DNA. Yeah.
And fans love that. It's not annoying at all from a story point of view.
He got the Tesseract in the...
Yeah, he stole it, but I think hopefully that's him giving it over so Thanos will stop killing the rest of the Asgardians, the 100 that are left on that ship.
I don't know how many are left after this. And the last group that I think are actually very vulnerable, Nick Fury, Pepper Potts, and Happy Hogan, who were the last two were definitely in the very first MCU with Iron Man. And Nick Fury, like the fact that they led the trailer with his voice, the fact that like he seems super vulnerable in Winter Soldier, like I don't see a version of this where Nick Fury survives really, because the Avengers Initiative was his kind of brainchild, and I just don't.
Kind of poetic.
Yeah.
Definitely, like if Tony Stark's crying, it's either Spider-Man, Happy, or Pepper, and it's probably since they already did one whole movie on Happy being in the hospital and being hurt, probably Pepper.
Yeah.
Probably Pepper. Probably Pepper.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
Pepper Potts is going to kick the bucket.
Yeah.
But that would leave him to want to quit the group because it's not worth it. It's like the Spider-Man effect with Gwen Stacy. It's like, I can't have you near me and people can't know about me. Maybe finally this has happened because they're a very public couple.
Ooh, or you get like a bloodlust type thing where he like loses his mind and he goes after Thanos and he
hulks.
super dies.
Yeah. Where did we leave it with Pepper with Iron Man 3? Does she still have the extremist abilities?
No, they by the end of that movie, they're like, we got it out of her.
Yeah,
they were like,
okay, all
I'm
good.
rich.
You're
Boop.
safe now. Oh, is she taking like some medication or
Yeah.
something? Okay,
Jarvis
yeah.
probably like gave her a blood transfusion and everything.
For a second, I'm like, oh, maybe she's going to be the one to save them all using these explosive powers. I don't know. Well, let us know your thoughts down below, or hit us up with a reaction to the Infinity War trailer on Stardust. And yeah, while we're speaking of Stardust, let's actually check in with Janine on Stardust, who sent us her reaction.
Oh my god, just watched the trailer. Completely epic. Oh my gosh, seeing everybody together. That running shot with, oh my gosh, Captain America and the people from Wakanda. And oh my gosh, that was so awesome. Seeing Thanos, he actually looked really good. The CGI wasn't bad. Way better than Steppenwolf. And him taking Vision Stone. And I knew Loki was staring at that Tesseract in Thor Ragnarok, so I knew he was going to take it. Everybody looked good. Running together. So much fun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love her enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That running shot though, like
It's
I
a
don't care if
money
you
shot.
don't like the movie at all. You see that and you're like, "Whoa, that's
so
nice."
cool.
Yeah.
it's
And
really
he's got the
cool.
perfect hair, you know, like Cap's
it's
got
just
the
a-
perfect hair. It's just
the bob.
You
Yeah.
got Falcon War Machine flying. You got Hulk
Yeah.
blending in with the background because of the green.
What
And
is
it's
it
great.
about running shots, guys? Like Civil War had that great running shot.
that was like
lines of people running at each.
da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's very X-Men animated. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is just we all grew up with X-Men animated series. We just want to see our favorite superheroes running together.
And Baywatch.
Yeah, staying
Yeah.
fit. Yeah, very, yeah. Very
Makes
lucky.
sense.
Well, thank you, Janine. Yeah, I totally agree. And reminder that for the rest of you can download Stardust by clicking on our link in the description below and post your reaction. Tag us at New Rockstars. And yeah, we'll feature your video in future episodes of The Need to Know, just like we did with Janine. But let us move on to this week's trivia question. Yes,
Oh,
which
yay.
I have somewhere
Right
around
up there.
here. Yeah, okay. So it looks like
Yes.
we're going to be testing our Avengers knowledge here.
Testing it.
And I have not seen the question, I promise.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, I didn't cheat. Okay, so here we go. In Avengers Age of Ultron, what character did Stan Lee play in his
Oh, I haven't
cameo?
seen it in oh wait,
Age of Ultron. Okay, I don't remember. I have an
Oh.
idea. I don't know if this was Age of Ultron or Civil War though. I honestly like sometimes just get them all mixed. Age of Civil Infinity. Is that
Wait.
a movie? But no.
Wait, what happened in that movie? There's so much.
Are we looking for a name? Or are we looking for
What
the
role?
scenario? Or
I've written one.
all right. I'm
Oh,
just
this is the
gonna-
first. I don't even think I'm confident. Oh wait, I don't even think I'm right, but at least I'm confident is what I will say to that. I can't remember. I can kind of see it if I squint.
All right.
Don't worry, I'll keep talking.
Yeah, you're so great at
Welcome.
filling in the gaps. of
Oh, I just
this,
showed you my answer, and
this-
you were like, "Oh, I wish that was it," and I wrote on the wrong side of the card.
Oh, it's all good.
That's fine.
Okay, well, later in the show, we will reveal the answer to this question. In the meantime, you feel free to write your answer in the comments below.
No cheating.
No cheating. The
Oh, so mine.
closest answer, as decided by our judges, will do our sign-off goodbyes at the end of the video and do it in whatever dumb voice or amazing new character they're trying out. It's been in my Tank.
Is Tank dead, or is he still around?
I haven't heard from Tank in a while, so I went to Tank's apartment. Meanwhile, the loser will have to read our In Other News wrap-up headlines, and they'll have to be hilarious on the spot, but more on that later.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, we'll just put
Yay.
these off to the side.
There you go.
No one will be tampering with those. Okay, let's move on to another reaction to the Infinity War trailer on Stardust, this time from E. Wong. Take it away.
There's so much to unpack with this trailer. I mean, so many characters. I'm counting 15. But yeah, the human vision. That's really awesome to see. To have Paul Bettany actually be himself. Actually see his face. But how are they going to fit all this into 2.5 hours? I'm ecstatic over.
Aw.
Yeah.
Good shirt, man. I like your
nice
shirt.
Thanks, man. And you were very right. 2.5 hours isn't really a whole lot of time to do these characters justice. So I'd like to look at Avengers Infinity War and the MCU by the numbers. And this week's number that I'm most interested in is the number 20. I feel like this is Sesame Street a little bit.
Yeah.
Like this week's number is the number 20.
Brought to you by 20.
Yeah. 20 is the number of new films that Marvel head Kevin Feige is planning for the future of Marvel Studios.
Still to come? I'm sorry, still to come?
Still to come.
We haven't seen?
Right. We've only seen 17 come out, be released. He's got another 5 that they've kind of announced when and what they'll be. Okay, let's quote him directly. He said in an interview that after 17 released Marvel films, another 5 scheduled, quote, "We've got another 20 movies on the docket that are completely different from anything that's come before, intentionally."
Liar.
Wow.
You don't know. They're all
20.
sequels.
That's a bluff if I've ever seen one.
Is that like how Ant-Man is different to Iron Man because their names are different? Like,
Yeah.
Is that the kind of difference we're talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what...
Spider-Man, Venom. Oh, they got
They're
all
so
those.
different.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Mind you, what's the new X-Men movie coming out though?
New Mutants.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
then Dark
I mean,
Phoenix
that's a
is
pivot.
on the way. Yeah.
And Dark Phoenix, which I
Yeah.
keep forgetting about.
Right,
Same.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess my question is, can Marvel sustain the popularity of the comic book superhero genre for another 20 films? Like, this is over double what we've seen so far. That's like another 15 to 20 years of what we've seen. I don't know if any genre
Well,
can
that
last that
means
long.
that we are going to be taking our children to see these movies. I mean,
And
that's the thing.
my children's to see these movies
You
because
wanna
there'll be
calm
20 more after that. We all know it. It's never going to end.
I currently have an adult son who I will not be taking to any
We don't even
He's
talk
42.
about it. But that's the thing, like, it's a generational thing. So once you're getting over it, there's another generation, like
Yeah.
Star Wars, man. Another generation ready to pick up the slack and take it to the next level.
Yeah, and I mean, even Star Wars was an unlikely outlier exception where we had like 15 years of a dark period of no Star Wars other than like EU novels and comics. And then when they came back, it was such a huge event. And then there was even like at least a dark 6 or 7 years between Revenge of the Sith
That was very
and
dark.
Force Awakens. But they're releasing 2 to 3 films a year of this. I mean, I'll go watch all of these. Surely. I mean, you need your breakdowns. So I'll be giving you your breakdowns.
You're
as long as
paying the
11.
bills, man.
We are literally going to have a breakdown.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of superhero. And the more you watch them, the more formulaic they are.
Yeah.
They're becoming, if not quite obviously already.
I was gonna say don't you dare, but of course they are. I was like, well, think about this. It was like Logan. Logan was
Yeah.
just depressing. I can't watch 20 movies of that. I'll kill myself.
But that is a good example of how you can take a superhero movie and pivot the genre.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, it's still all let's save the freaking world, or let's save someone, or let's
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also that's what crime movies are usually. It's there's someone who's in trouble, we're going to go save them. Just in superheroes, it's like there's a power, they learn how to use the power, here's a friend, then a character dies, and then they save the day.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was I forgot to put this in here, but there was a interview with Willem Dafoe and Hugh Jackman recently, and they were asked about like
for Variety. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
for
doing
Variety.
actor on actor.
Yeah, and they both kind of agreed that like they just don't know how long the appeal of this brand can last. And these are the guys who were there in the early 2000s making these things before it was cool and popular, before big actors wanted to be in these movies. I don't know. I think I guess my bigger question is are there 20 more characters or 20 movies worth of other characters that people are that excited for? No. Or even if you reboot them, are people going to be that excited?
No. No. You can do team ones, but still that's 20 team movies. That's a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, look at this picture right here. Iron Man alone has had 3 of his own movies and been in another sort of 3 or so. That's 6. Thor is kind of in the same boat, a few less. The Guardians have had 2, and they're going to be in a 3rd with probably another 1 or 2 to go. Like, yeah, I reckon you can get another 20.
Who's,
Yeah, if you ring it.
Who's next to Groot? Who's in the back?
Is that
who's by Star-Lord?
Yondu over there? Or?
No, who's behind Star-Lord?
Yondu.
Yeah, there's
This one.
yeah, that's Yondu.
He
No,
looks
that's
like
not
my
Yondu, that's
booger
not.
that I sneezed
Yeah.
into a
Who's
dish.
that?
Who's that silly boy? Let us
that
know.
you?
Adam Warlock.
It
Is
might
that
be
you?
me.
Did you
If you have me,
Jack
my
Black
boy.
from The Shining sneak in here?
Sam, you got 3 movies coming out?
Guys,
Yeah.
Cat's
thank
out
you
of the
so
bag.
much. I'm playing You guys let us know in the comments
yeah.
down below. You got to guess.
I think, I mean, not to leave this one too cynical of a note. I mean, clearly Kevin Feige was probably just trying to reassure investors and be like, no, there's a bright future, just as bright as what you've seen so far.
It's all BS.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's his job. It's his job to like sell this narrative in terms of how successful the business is going to be.
When DC 10s, well, we've got 25.
right. We could beat that, guys.
Wait, they did that, right? They were like, here's Marvel's slate. And they're like, DC's like, psh, I could do that too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it would require some kind of transformation, Logan-type transformation of what superhero movies feel like to get away from that formula.
Can this be our pitch me? Because I've got a great one. Can we have like the next 2 movies to Spider-Man be like a coming-of-age story where he first falls in love? And I'm talking like Perks of Being a Wallflower or something.
Ooh, super indie.
Yeah,
Super indie.
That's my pitch.
Yeah.
It seemed like Homecoming was going to be that a little bit.
But
and
it
they're like, no, Vulture.
And no, it was still a superhero movie, but it really great. I still love that movie. But if we do the whole Fox moving forward with the Disney buying Fox, then you could get another Fantastic Four movie,
reboot everything,
and
reboot Civil War,
X-Men. You could have an X-Men.
We've done that a few times. We've jumped a few timelines for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Time stone. You got a time stone now. Everything can be changed.
It's that I like it, but it's like that's a lot.
A lot.
Well, because this is a need to know, we cover all the news you need to know about this week. So I think we're going to shift gears now and pivot from the MCU to the DCEU.
Nice.
Okay, everybody. Justice League has become one of the most debated movies of 2017, with many fans asking for an ultimate cut of Zack Snyder's original version of the film. Now, just to be clear, Zack Snyder had to step down from the movie in the middle of production. He didn't finish a version of the movie. He just stepped down, unfortunately, for tragic family reasons. Warner Brothers hired Joss Whedon to finish the movie. Of course, Joss Whedon from the Avengers and now all the Buffy stuff. Yeah, he's great. Now, many viewers believed this caused some tonal inconsistencies, to use a delicate word. A mix of Snyder's darker, more bleak take on the characters and Whedon's more lighthearted, humor-driven style. Now, according to some leaks, some rumors, some people sharing what they've seen in earlier screenings and drafts of scripts and concept art, we have a pretty good idea of exactly which scenes and lines were changed during Joss Whedon's reshoots. So we're going to do a by comparison here. I thought we could run down a list of 7 major changes and discuss them, whether we thought they were warranted or whether they thought it made the movie better or different, and how we feel about that.
It's exciting. I actually didn't read into this, so I'm excited to dig in.
We got some interesting stuff here. And again, I just want to remind you guys that the movie we saw was still mostly Zack Snyder's vision. It's not like Joss Whedon completely redid the movie. I think a lot of those rumors were overblown. The story and the scenes remain pretty much the same, but in many cases, yes, the dialogue within those scenes was revised by Whedon. Yeah.
Also, guys, he jumped in when the movie was almost done. He did reshoot a bunch, but imagine the amount of work that would have to go in for him to rewrite an entire story and get the whole cast on board.
Right.
That's
and I
insane.
also wonder how much is the red pen on the script and how much is, the scene improv.
Yeah.
And I might take something that isn't the script in front of me.
Right. And Whedon has been known to use that style, just kind of suggesting an ad-libbed version of this. Even though this thought experiment kind of creates 2 different versions of the movie in our minds, at the end of the day, there was one movie. There was one Justice League that both directors collaborated on. We should see it as one final piece. But that said, just for the sake of the thought experiment, let's look at like the 2 different versions of this. Look at the changes. And we should start out here with how the movie begins. Okay, in Zack Snyder's cut, the movie opened with that World Without Hope montage. Set to the Leonard Cohen song, the cover by Sigrid. And that led directly into Batman finding and recruiting Aquaman. But it was Whedon's decision to add the Superman cell phone footage. Well, if it wasn't his decision, it was when he was reshooting. It might have been a studio suggestion. He added the Superman cell phone footage prologue, as well as that Batman rooftop scene that it led into. That was all before the World Without Hope montage that we saw. So what do you guys think? Were you satisfied with Whedon's new opening in Justice League, or would you prefer Snyder's vision?
There was a thing that came out saying that the cell phone footage was added at the last second. It was one of the latest additions. That's why he looks... That's why he looks like that. That's why it's like weird, like
CGI,
a donut's right in front of his mouth. It's rougher, but and also one of the CG artists went on Reddit, was like, we didn't see that. But, we were really proud of the close-ups you got later in the movie, because it's like, yes, it's really hard to digitally remove something like that and then rebuild a face. But he's like, we were proud. When that came out, they were furious because that looks awful.
Yeah.
Anyways, I liked the idea of this scene more than how it was just, that was so distracting to me. When he talks about that, the kids being excited, Superman talking to kids, like that's a really cool thing we've never seen, especially with his version of Superman. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I could have actually left that one.
That one?
Yeah, the Superman scene, just the Superman part in particular, because the kid's voice acting, it seemed
so
really
bad.
Yeah,
He is
and it
so
took me
bad.
out of
It's
the
hard to get
movie.
good kid actors.
And when you start with that, like when that's the thing that kicks off the boat, and I think the scene went for a little bit too long. The point that they were trying to make could have been made in a much more concise manner. And so, like, if that's your opening, you're like, But I did like the moment that Ben Affleck had on the top of the roof with the villain, or the thug.
It felt like Gotham, which was cool. Yeah,
Exactly.
It did,
and
yeah.
it really, really kind of brought you into Batman's land, his world again. And I loved how immersive that was. And the man who acted the thug in that scene is also brilliant in Mindhunter. If you
I have
haven't
not
seen
watched
that
it
yet.
yet. I've heard
who
he's
is he
really
in
good.
Mindhunter? I've seen that.
He's the dude, man. I don't know his name because I don't have IMDb brain like
All right, I'm gonna go look it up.
But he's absolutely
he was good in that
fantastic.
movie. Yeah.
And kind of like seeing him in Justice League, I was like, this is what you need to do. You put all your eggs in the things that you can, invest in and that will pay off.
Yeah.
The kids thing, the thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think my biggest thing is just aesthetically. It feels very anti-cinematic, like cell phone camera footage, and they shot it, in the vertical portrait mode.
Dodge.
And I liked the kind of joke of it, and I like the tonal change. I like the opening shot of a movie to be cinematic, so that like you can compare the opening and closing shot and just see how the movie has changed tonally.
It was a cool. I like the idea of the explanation of this. I'm saying good ideas, not maybe poor execution. It looks like an S, but he's like, it moves like a river. That hope comes and goes, and it's like I'm the one who like
some of the
whatever.
writing, yeah.
Which is a cool idea, and also it makes more sense than just saying, "Hey, this is it." It's like just
hope.
it's an S, but shut up, okay?
Yeah.
It's not. It means hope. All right. Just,
You know what? Like, I think that out of everyone at this table, I should be able to relate to that the most because my tattoo here means hope.
Oh,
There's always hope.
what is this? A balloon?
Exactly. But it looks like a mess.
But this is a river.
So I'm the one that's supposed to be like, oh yeah, I get it. I'm not.
Sorry, donut mouth was really confused. It was distracting. It was like
Donut.
right.
Got a little-
It was
The
like,
lips don't
it
move
was
right.
like a painting with a drop of water that they just smudged.
They just go quick blur, just blur it out.
Let's move on to our next big change. How the Flash was used in the movie. So Snyder conceived the general visuals and the set pieces for the Flash. His meeting with Bruce, the Batarang throw, the slow motion assist with Diana's sword, which I really loved.
Yeah.
But really, Whedon was the one who fleshed out the soul of the character. He's the one who added that "save one person" line from Batman, setting up Barry as the
Which is
hero,
great. That was
prevented
cool.
the civilian casualties, taking care of the bystanders, and that included all the saves in the final battle. That whole Russian family was not part of the movie until Whedon got on board. So depending on how you felt about the Russian family, they're just there as a symbol of the people who were
so
saving.
hit and miss because that moment where he actually realized that, oh, cool, Barry Allen doesn't really have much of a role here.
Yeah.
And if you're in the audience going, well, what's he supposed to do? The fact that Batman comes in almost like a father figure that he doesn't really have since his father's in prison and gives him a role. It helps you identify like him to the audience.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, that's right. He's just a speedster. He's not really someone who's a good fighter. He just saves people.
Yeah.
And so like you're able to, I don't know, understand Barry so much more and like the struggle that he had previously. I don't know if that made any sense, but
No, it
I
does,
like
yeah.
that bit.
But
no,
it's-
it
The
makes
Russian family was pointless.
It was cute when the little girl got the road
Pointless.
spit. It was totally pointless. It was like,
I'm
why
pointing
is this one family
less.
living in this weird reactor town? But then like 90 other people ran out. But still,
Yeah.
it did lead to one of my favorite parts of Superman carrying the building
Yeah.
and then Flash pushing the car. And it's
Yeah.
like it was fun.
It's
And then he
fun.
did a dumb joke of a random Russian author. Sorry.
Oh, that's who it was?
Random. Well, I
know it's not
breakdown.
totally random.
Kind of
Right.
random.
Well,
Well, for people who don't know who don't care to look, which I would feel like 90% of people. But also, afterwards,
Why would
people
they
are
look
like,
it up
"Oh,
when
he
you
was
can
trying to
tell
say
us?
Dos Vidania, which means goodbye in Russian." I'm like, "Oh, I totally read too much into that." Probably.
Oh,
for
is that what
everybody.
he's supposed
I
to
think
do?
he's trying to say Dos Vidania,
What did he
waving goodbye,
say?
and he says Dostoevsky, which is a Russian author and philosopher.
Yeah, who talks about like people with like wasn't it like it's something about like people who have power should have the responsibility
Right,
of
it's
acting
the
up and,
Nietzschean
like, being-
Übermensch philosophy, Übermensch meaning Superman. So there's a kind of a fun connection if we're crazy and we read into it,
because
which I do.
no
but-
normal person, sorry, doesn't know that. Yeah.
I don't know it. I am normal.
Yeah.
But I also like to be told.
Yeah. It wasn't just this part. We were kind of talking about some of the jokes. Whedon, even though Flash was always intended to be a comic relief character, Whedon really leaned into that even more. The whole line of him saying people are slow and Bruce responding, I'll try to keep up. And then that bit with Flash face planting after tapping Diana's sword and referencing Pet Sematary. Also the gag with Aquaman saying on Diana's lasso of truth. Those were all Whedonisms, which they did feel a bit like Buffy-style jokes.
But again, like I think when we were talking about Justice League, Aquaman's like biggest moment was the lasso moment of truth. Like that was his most dialogue, and you kind of got an understanding of who he was as a person / hero. And yeah, all of these best bits of the Flashes, Whedon knows how to humanize these characters by having like a personality. And I think that's Zack really doesn't know how to inject personality into the heroes.
No, he can make it look
It just doesn't seem like a priority. I mean, I think he can. He just has these other things on his checklist that he wants to get to first.
I mean, but like with Watchmen, well, exactly. Like, I mean, but with Watchmen, like, I never, like, that movie, I have no idea what's happening. Even though I've read Watchmen, I don't know what's happening when I watch that movie. Does it look exactly like the comic? Yes. That doesn't mean anything after the 2-hour mark. And I'm like, I could have just read this and it would have meant more to me.
Yeah. So, the humor was more heavily inspired by Whedon. Also, the post-credit scenes, the Superman race one with Flash, that was a Whedon post-credit scene. Meanwhile, the Lex Deathstroke one was from Snyder's version. Actually, there was an earlier version, I don't know if Snyder decided to take it out, of Deathstroke actually breaking Lex out of Arkham. But that, of course, left on the cutting room floor. Let's move on to the third big one. The next big change involves Steppenwolf and how the mother boxes were portrayed in the movie. So it seems like there was a super early cut of the movie, maybe even before Zack Snyder's latest footage, that had a longer scene after Steppenwolf steals the mother box from the Amazonians on Themyscira. He speaks to the device because apparently the idea was that it contained the essence of his mother, Hegra. Now, Hegra is his sister in the comics. And when this literal mother box would get united with the other two, it would unleash Hegra's power. Actually, the words that we heard Steppenwolf's from the script in this part, we heard in the trailer that came out at Comic-Con last summer, where he goes, there's no protectors here, no lanterns, no Kryptonians. This world will fall like the others. And there was an added sentence of, you will be free, mother.
Oh. That makes more sense.
And it would have meant more than just glowy box.
Yeah, I really wish that remained.
Yeah.
The essence of someone's mother, and that gives him more drive because it's his relationship with his mother.
Right.
And if she's more powerful, those together, mother and son duo, like, yeah. And speaking to the box instead of just being like,
this is for Darkseid and the unity with it's
what is the unity?
Right.
No one knows.
It was a little undefined. It might be in the deleted scenes. We'll see when the DVD comes out. Also, Zack Snyder did shoot for sure a sequence that showed one of the Amazonian warriors start to get transformed into a parademon, kills herself before that happens. That probably will be in the deleted scenes. It sounds like.
Yikes!
But I
wish
wish we did see the transition of all of those who died on the battlefield becoming the army.
Yeah.
Like knowing that
we just saw that one test example
turned against, because otherwise they're just a faceless soldier again.
Yeah.
They got goggles on though.
Goggles. Loves those goggles. But let's talk about this ancient battle sequence. Steppenwolf's first invasion of Earth. This whole part was from Zack Snyder's vision, but there was apparently an even earlier version that contained actual dialogue from the characters we saw in the sequence, including Green Lantern, along with Ares, Zeus, Hippolyta, and Antiope. They got those cameos from Robin Wright and David Thewlis, but they were going to have lines originally. It does sound like Joss Whedon's reshoots reconfigured how much of the Green Lantern would be in this scene. I think it sounds like he expanded the cameo to include Green Lantern's death and the power ring zipping away.
That was a nice touch.
That was a good moment.
Yeah, I don't think they need to like plan out like, well, you'll take this box over here, I'll take this box. What? And then for some reason the alien's not like, you know what, leave them all on Earth. I won't take these boxes anywhere else in the universe. We'll just leave them on Earth for some reason. There's a big plot hole.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, why'd you hide it in one place? Like, he found him in 2 seconds. Hide it out in space. Space is endless.
I was happy with how this scene ended in the movie, just because all I needed was Diana's voiceover to really kind of walk me through it. It didn't necessarily give me more explanation for what Steppenwolf was all about, but I thought it looked cool, and it gave some more historical weight to what was happening. I don't know.
Mother Hegra. That would have been so good.
That would have been great. Yeah.
Also, they're supposed to talk. They're not like, they don't like, they like, just like, they can communicate with whoever's holding them. So they're cool.
Tongue?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, next up, Cyborg was one of the more Frankensteined, literally, it seems like, characters throughout the development process of this movie. Very early cuts of the movie included some scenes before his injury, which is why we saw those shots of him playing football and wearing a Letterman jacket in the trailers that ended up in the final cut of the movie. There was a scene between Victor and his mother, including possibly her death, that he might have actually caused through one of his angry moments. Yeah. Snyder's version of the movie included more scenes with Silas Stone, his father, including more of that rescue from the tunnels. Whedon trimmed a lot of that down. Whedon's his reshoots did rely heavily on Cyborg in the third act to kind of explain all the exposition, because it sounds like in the earlier versions it wasn't totally clear what the League's final mission was. Yeah. That said, using him just as an exposition device didn't totally win me over either.
He was one of my favorite characters from it. I really liked how they used him. Yeah.
I'm going to pitch something.
Go for it.
So they save the father. Father's like, let me help you. Somehow that he goes to the Russian site, puts him in a house to keep him safe, or they need to save him.
Which father?
Instead of the Russian family.
Oh,
gotcha.
So use him as someone to,
Yeah.
It would have meant
you
more.
Want to protect.
And I think that was the idea of the tunnel scene. Like, they were going to get him out of there, but it sounds like Star Labs was going to be collapsing, and you did see other shots in the trailer where debris was falling, and then Cyborg blasted it out of the way to protect the Star Labs scientists. I think there was a lot more there involving Silas, that he was going to be one of these, saving damsels that shows other people's heroism that we just didn't end up seeing as much.
I didn't need him to kill his own mom. I wouldn't have needed that. That's
we already lost Batman's mom like 22 times.
Yeah. Her name would also have been Martha.
Yeah. And Barry lost his mom. Like, it's like there's enough people losing their mothers. We don't.
Right.
We don't need
but then
that.
you've got Wonder Woman whose mom is like, can't touch her.
Yeah. And I didn't need him literally killing his mom. Like, that would be. Yeah. I know it was super ambiguous in the movie of what happened. No one really knows. They're like, an explosion or an accident. I don't really know what happened to you. But now you have robot parts. Yeah. So
he's mainly robot. He's just got a face.
Mostly machine. Okay, well, let's move on to the next big change. There's a lot involved here. Superman's return, right? It was a big center piece of the movie. Decision to resurrect him was part of Zack Snyder's story, just played out a little bit differently in what we ended up seeing. During the countdown, as Flash used his Speed Force to jumpstart the Mother Box, at 1, Cyborg was suddenly going to be struck with a premonition similar to Bruce's nightmare vision, Batman or Superman. He was going to envision the death of the Justice League, the ruins of Earth, Darkseid, and this is of course cut from the movie. Whedon's reshoots focused on the close-ups and dialogue for a lot of the sequence, which Snyder might not even gotten to yet. So it's not like he revised anything; he just filled it in with his own voice. Specifically, all of Superman's lines in the resurrection battle thing in Metropolis, including the callback "Do you bleed?" That was from Whedon.
That was great. That was
from Whedon.
Yeah, that was a really good moment.
Yeah,
it's tying it together. That's the thing. You want that unity. You want it to kind of have purpose and make sense.
Right.
Unity.
It's a nice kind of cyclical.
The unity of the three things.
There. Additionally, during the sequence, Whedon added what I thought was one of the most thematically significant exchanges of the movie, when Bruce admits to Alfred that they need Superman because Clark is more human than Bruce is. To me,
beautiful moment.
I thought it was really unappreciated in a lot of the critics' reactions. This to me showed the evolution of Bruce in Bruce in
I didn't want to say anything.
Bruce is coming back, baby. In this film, he started as a guy who sees his wealth as kind of a punchline, like I'm rich, and then he becomes a guy who realizes that his wealth has created this lonely, detached person, makes him a little less human. I love that moment.
This is the thing. You're making humans and humanizing these characters, but also you've got to tap into them feels.
Yeah.
Because it's like explosion, whatever. You need to know, that there's something under all of that.
Under all those bats
but I think
symbols.
For Batman being the punching bag for a lot of jokes, and also being but for reals, I feel like I'm not really a person anymore.
Yeah.
You're just damn, that is a real character development.
Yeah. And then Snyder's previous version contained a scene where Superman actually retrieves his suit from the Kryptonian ship. Now, it might have been removed to make his appearance in the final battle, I believe in truth, and just maybe that more of a surprise.
Yeah.
So, because if we'd seen him, we would have known he was coming.
Yeah, because his suit's supposed to have a giant hole in it.
Right, from the dark side.
From the Doomsday thing,
Or not dark side, Doomsday. Yeah.
Also, he should still have a giant hole in him. I mean, I guess the Mother Box just kind of zip that back up. But
that should be mechanical.
Which part?
The hole should have pieced back up Like Cyborg.
Like
Oh,
Cyborg.
Yeah, the little Cybit.
Let's see. So maybe there was just some logical things that
Borg
yeah,
bit.
see that, yeah. Now the final alteration involved the film's ending and dark side. Okay, so the finale was totally a fusion of both directors' inputs, as the whole movie really was. Snyder conceived most of the general action, but Whedon shot Superman joining the battle and the interactions between Cyborg and Flash. And Snyder included shots of people around the world watching Steppenwolf's Red Sky unification. That's kind of from the crisis events in the comics. They were removed from the movie. Maybe they wanted to avoid that cliche thing of everyone kind of looking up the Times Square, those kind of things. Right, yeah.
It would have meant more because,
The
like, right now,
scale of
it's
it
just
all.
like, oh no, Steppenwolf's
Russia.
conquering this town.
This poor
We don't know anyone
pseudo
there.
Chernobyl is, under threat. Okay, Steppenwolf's final demise is actually reworked a bunch of times during production. Apparently, Snyder had concept art of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, the Trinity, looking up through the boom tube and seeing Darkseid glaring at them on the other side. That would have been very cool to see.
On the other dark side?
On the dark side, yeah. Dark side of that boom tube. And then rumor has it that there was an even earlier version of the ending that featured Darkseid actually killing off Steppenwolf in anger back on the planet Apocalypse, promising to travel Earth to meet that Kryptonian.
What would be really cool if Steppenwolf was a really, really strong, good villain that you actually feared, and then that was like eliminated straight
Right.
away, like effortlessly. Then you're like, oh, there's always a bigger bug. What is it? Fish.
in the pond. Fish in the pond. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Fish in the pie.
Yeah. Whedon's final cut, of course, featured the more open-ended shot of Steppenwolf being swallowed up by the parademons, pulled back through the boom tube. And then it led to that closing montage with Lois's narration and Flash's goofy running.
I can't.
That was all Snyder.
That's,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Wait,
that's
that's Snyder?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
running?
Oh,
Yeah,
so
the running
bad.
with Snyder, yeah.
Why?
It's so,
What was that? It's like he's
it's-
trying to run in high heels.
It's like
It
so
was.
fluid and beautiful in a weird way.
because like I tried it and I was like, it still doesn't like
Who does
feel.
that?
It doesn't feel good. And it was at first I was like, oh, because he's moving so fast, he kind of wants to get like that little extra little bit to go
yeah.
further. But even when doing it, I'm like, this is so hard.
a gift.
That was
Yeah.
awkward, like and pointless.
Yeah.
Like you know that.
No, I bet on the in the brainstorm session they're like, well, Quicksilver runs like this, and Flash runs like this, and the TV show is like, I know how to make this unique.
Yeah.
It's like not the effects; it's how he moves his dumb, lanky body when he's
Hey,
running.
as a dumb lanky person,
You do that?
No, I kind
all
of do
run.
more like that.
if
but
you saw him
still.
super speed, like,
Yeah. Well, again, comparing these different versions of the film is just a thought experiment. Every movie goes through several iterations with deleted scenes, rejected concepts, rewritten dialogue before the final cut that we end up seeing. Ultimately, that is the version that should be judged, the version that you saw in theaters. I actually want to throw it over to Chronotarian on Stardust, who had some positive thoughts on the version of Stardust that we did see in theaters. Take it away, Chrono.
What do you get when you cross a superhero movie with a masterpiece? Well, it's something close to Justice League. The characters were funny, and they were smart, and they were true to the comics. The dialogue was also funny and smart. The CGI was meh, I mean, Superman's lip, but aside from that, it was just a great movie, and I highly recommend it, even though Rotten Tomatoes hates it for some reason.
Chrono Nation sounds like I did when I first came out of seeing The Phantom Menace. I was
Why?
about the same age as well.
oh, that kid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know how you come out and you're like, that was cool. And then like 10 years pass and you're like,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, thanks, Chronotarian. And be sure
wait.
for the rest of you to let us know your thoughts on the changes that we talked about in the comments below. Tweet us directly. And if you haven't already, subscribe to New Rockstars to see all of our other videos on Justice League, including our review and the full movie breakdown that we did on this channel. Thanks,
I know,
guys.
real quickly, Chrono Nation, dude, more power to you. You're a comic book fan. And if you like this, who am I to say that it's not good?
I
Right,
know.
yeah.
Choose your Chrono Nation.
you,
Yeah,
Chrono.
buddy.
And to
thanks
all
for
the members of
jumping
the
on
Chrono
Stardust.
Nation
Yeah.
can't remember.
around the nation.
I can't
Pro
remember.
yes. No, pro no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our Need to Know lightning round, where I'm going to hit you guys with some rapid fire questions,
me.
off the cuff questions and answers that you have to answer these questions. You guys were nice enough to tweet us these earlier. I wrote some of them down. Make sure to tweet us next Friday with more questions for our panel, and I'm going to read them to you guys. Rapid fire. Here we go.
7.
Sam, if you could have one Infinity Stone, what would it be? That's from Momo.
The Momo,
No!
the time one. I wanted to control time.
Yeah.
What is the one rule I've told you, Sam Bashor?
Don't put the with time travel. Did I get it?
Don't mess with time.
Don't mess with time. Oh,
Should I say
okay.
a more graphic one? But yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Speed
next up, Maude.
Yep.
Alexis Sanchez wants to know, which of us do you think would be the best actor for an MCU movie?
And best actor.
Yeah.
I've never seen you act, man. Give me a line of dialogue.
You haven't seen Tank?
Okay, that's Sam.
I'm always hungry.
Sam Bashor.
Yeah, I think Sam wins that one. For me, someone asked, what other shows does Erik watch apart from the ones he reviews? Only the ones I review, because I only care about you guys. No, I really liked Mindhunter, and I like BoJack Horseman
Hold on,
a
you
lot.
said you watched Mindhunter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Big fan. I can't remember which dude
not
you're talking
Josh
about.
Graf, go.
Oh,
the
that's
older
another guy. That's him.
Yeah.
Oh, he seemed a lot younger in just.
That's him.
Anyway, okay, so and a bunch of others that I'll give it in my
Makes
15-second
no
shout out. Ooh, here we go. Sam. Netflix Marvel shows in order from favorite to least favorite.
Jessica Jones tied Punisher, Luke Cage, because Punisher actually turned out to be really solid. Then Daredevil season 2, not season 1, season 2. Then Defenders, Daredevil season 1, and then Iron Fist all the way in down in the dirt.
Okay.
Did I get them all? I think I got
haven't
them all.
watched 1 second of Iron Fist.
Don't.
Yeah, that's what everyone keeps saying, so I
Don't.
haven't.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good for that.
probably
Punisher though. It's good. John Bernthal.
Yeah.
He's good.
Maude from Dallas wants to know. The city
Hi,
Dallas
Dallas.
wants to know. Do you? This is a long one. Do you think the implied sex scene with Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor lessened her independence, as she stated before she read sex books and men are only good for procreation?
I would have preferred that scene if she kind of had a little bit more determination and drive behind it, and she'd be like, page 82, you know, we are going to do page 82 tonight. And he's like, what's that? And she's like,
Let me show you.
that would have been great. But this one, I don't know, it surprised me that that's not 30 seconds, was a woman's gaze, because it didn't feel like a woman's gaze for that particular moment. Isn't that weird? But what I did like about it, it had a sensuality instead of like a rah.
Yeah.
And they were pretty people.
Yeah, pretty, yeah.
They're pretty people.
And then Lily Mason wants to know, who in the superhero community would you want, 1 as a mentor, 2 as a best friend, and 3 as a love interest?
Who answers that? You?
I'll answer it.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so mentor.
Tony Stark.
Quick.
Tony Stark.
Sorry,
best friend. Tom Holland, not the character. I want Tom Holland as the best friend.
yeah.
There you go.
And then love interest.
Love interest. Quick.
Ego, the living planet, because I need to get it down with an entire planet. Right? Does that count?
That, you know what? That's ambitious.
Non-gender.
And I'm about
Don't read
it.
anything into the
Can we
casting
do
of the character.
yours?
Yeah, let's all do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A mentor.
Mentor.
Kinda F and K with,
I would want. I'd go with Wally West or Clark. Clark would be great. Kent would be great. Best friend. I want Tim Drake. Robin. He'd be a fun one. I like him. And then love interest. Starfire. Don't judge me.
No.
Don't judge me.
Well, mine was Tony Stark, because he's got some coinge. Best friend. Oh, I need to look at
Tony
a
Stark
picture
again, because coinge
No, well,
and suits.
he's my mentor, man. Quick, best friend, help me.
Quick.
I think
Quick.
Wonder
Luke
Woman
Cage.
would be
Quick.
cool.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman. She's
Yeah,
a good
she'd
friend.
be my
She's
best
there.
friend.
Yeah.
We'd
And
braid
then-
each other's hair. Nightwing.
You just seen that butt? The butt's crazy.
Yep. All right.
It blows my mind.
Let's take a look at what we got in the pipeline for videos coming out in the channel next week. Guys, you guys have been asking about us. We got super busy over the Thanksgiving holiday and with Justice League coming out. But Sam has a Punisher full season breakdown.
Not to brag.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming
We're gonna-
quick.
Yeah.
Full season?
Full season.
Full season, baby.
There's not that many Easter eggs, but there are some good little catches that you guys will enjoy.
Oh, thanks,
And some of you may have seen on our channel, we did initially upload the Game of Thrones Season 1, Episode 4 breakdown. We actually had some technical issues, but that will be coming next week. Thank you for your patience. We're still going to be working on this classic breakdown. We love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do, so we will be continuing to do those.
Because you're armed with knowledge now.
Armed with knowledge. I drink and I know things, right? Sure.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, and as usual, we will be doing episode breakdowns of The Walking Dead and The Flash.
Nice.
Actually, we got
Very special one for Crisis on Earth X, the big crossover this year. Yeah. I did a whole crossover breakdown, boys and girls. You better go watch it.
It's probably live on the channel now, so just as soon as you're done, go click over and watch that. And then other videos in the works. We do have some more Star Wars content, some more Marvel content. Keep your eye out for that. Some real exciting stuff coming.
Oh my gosh, by the time this video is out, I would have interviewed the cast of The Last Jedi.
Oh, man.
That's pretty cool.
That's so exciting.
Will she cry?
Yes, she will.
I know, Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Have you never met him?
I've asked him a question once. I said who would win in a fight between the Joker and Luke Skywalker, and he spoke for about 7 minutes not answering my question.
Oh.
I was like, that's not what I just wanted
Such a good question.
I wish you
Well
said he
done,
couldn't
Mike.
hear me because I was crying out of excitement. That would
Okay.
be me.
Now comes the time for a 15-second shout-out, where each of us has 15 seconds to shout out, plug, or ramble about anything we want. Sam, why don't you start?
15 seconds starting now. Go read Doomsday Clock. It's the spiritual sequel to Watchmen that they released. It is the most beautiful art I've ever seen in the comic. It's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. I will show you guys after. It is beautiful. Go read it right now if you've ever read Watchmen before.
Okay, my 15 seconds. I finally got around to watching the Jim and Andy documentary on Netflix about it's behind-the-scenes footage of Jim Carrey on Man in the Moon, where it's a biopic of Andy Kaufman, the avant-garde comedian who influenced everyone. And it really might make you not like Jim Carrey too much because it kind of makes him look like an egomaniac. But I loved it.
Into a dark place,
Yes, he
doesn't
does.
Yes, he
And he
does.
never really came out of it.
I'm just going to shout out to a book. I'm reading the Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
That's something
Ray
I've not...
Bradbury, I like
Bradbury?
him.
Yeah.
I haven't done that one before, but also shout out to Outlander on Stars over here.
Do you watch
Well,
that?
I got into it, guys. I'm up to episode, I think, 7. My word.
Ooh.
Okay.
Quite nice.
give you a moment to cool off there.
I want
Yeah.
to be with the Scotsman now. Yeah.
You carry
In
me.
a kilt, lassie. Oh, my bonny lassie.
Here we go. Let's.
Say I. Just say I.
I.
Thank you.
What did we just agree to?
I don't know.
That I'm pretty.
Oh. Well, let us return to our trivia question. Is that you? Did you write
Yes,
that?
more
Okay.
on
We'll
that.
just read, and I'll just read Sam's. Okay, and we have our answer over here.
Oh, no, yes.
Rereading, yeah, and you can take this one. Yeah. The in Avengers: Age of Ultron, our trivia question here. What character did Stan Lee play in his cameo?
Sam Bashor reckons it's a random Sokovia man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Because
okay.
the city blew up.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds actually more right. Maude says wedding DJ.
Who goes getting
When
married?
was the wedding? Was
There
there?
was some sort of event in the beginning of the movie, and it cuts to him, and he's like,
Oh, wasn't there a Deadpool scene where he played a DJ?
Yeah, he's a DJ in the
that's
At the
strip
strip
club.
club.
No,
Yeah.
this is like
A different one?
Or he's sitting in the front row at a wedding. Maybe he's sitting in the
Oh,
front
and he's
row.
like
at a
crying
wedding.
and clapping or
Yes,
something.
what was that one?
I don't remember. I don't think
don't
anyone
remember.
got married in that movie.
And then I wrote
It was an
something.
event.
I
I
wrote,
just said an
you wrote
event.
FedEx Delivery Man, but that's the one from
Civil War?
Civil
War.
War.
Okay, yeah, well, the answer is Stan Lee, comic book creator. He played himself.
All right, so the question was, what is the most
Who-
obscure Stan Lee
Yeah.
reference
Right, yeah.
that you've seen in a movie?
Uh-huh.
I'd be the
There you
winner.
go.
I think Maude's safe to be the winner there. Okay, so as the winner, Maude, you will get to do our
Oh.
goodbyes and make fun of our names and Twitter handles, however you like. But we need to find out who our loser, who was the worst.
I mean, this is a different movie. I just got some movie
I
right.
definitely was wrong.
A random Sokovia man. You didn't describe the scene, Sam Bashor?
It was
Yeah.
a
You didn't.
Sokovia.
Sam, okay,
This is Sokovia.
judge's final word there. All right, we're gonna run through our other news headlines that we didn't
Big
have time
funny
for.
Sam.
And Sam, as the loser of the trivia question, you'll have to read these. At the end of each headline, you have to make a joke to cleverly riff on the headline.
Don't be
and,
a joke.
we
Just
won't tackle you.
say it.
We'll be there. We have your back. We will support you.
Oh, you heck,
here we go.
I could take it.
Take it away, Sam.
Number 1, Netflix renewed Stranger Things for a 3rd season and Mindhunters for a 2nd season. I got right, everybody. Number 2, Aquaman and Khal Drogo actor Jason Momoa said after visiting the set of Game of Thrones' final season, the final episode will be the greatest thing that has ever been aired on TV. Not talking about his abs. Am I right, everybody? High five.
That's
for
good.
those.
Yeah,
Don't high
we
five
got-
that.
no.
Yeah, my hands are wet.
I'm supportive. Yeah,
Number
they are
3.
so wet.
Mark Hamill said in an interview that he wanted Luke Skywalker to be blind in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Didn't see that coming. Thank you. I'm nervous. Number 4, Margot Robbie said that she's working on a separate Harley Quinn solo movie for some reason, along with Suicide Squad 2 and Jared Leto Joker movie, Gotham City Sirens, and an animated series. That makes that makes 5 Harley Quinn projects in development. My
Nice.
comment on that is, dear God, please, I'd rather die.
Whoa.
And as a joke, number 5, rumors are suggesting Warner Brothers
Just, like, open
plans
them and let 'em breathe.
to assemble the Legion of boom, a team of DC villains across the next few DC movies to set up a future showdown with the Justice League. Are they just going to be the executives at Warner Brothers because they basically killed the Justice League movie?
That's good.
That was really good,
Well
Sam.
done.
That was good.
I haven't been breathing. My voice is getting higher. That was really scary for me.
That was you. I mean, a bit of a warm up.
Yeah.
You took about 90% of it was a warm up, but you really came home there with the last 10.
Yeah,
the
that
most-
was a
you're
whoosh,
good closer.
wing
Yeah.
better.
All right, take it away, Maude.
Oh, cool. Hi, my name is Maude. I'm your winner. I'm going to milk this and be really smug because I feel like I'm Kristen Wiig a little bit. I'm on a plane and I'm about to drop something. So, but I just interviewed her today. No, I'm not Kristen Wiig. Couldn't get 8
You're
minutes
Maude.
of a chat out of her. Hey, guys, I want to thank the hosts that were on the table. Sam, Bashor. Sam, I told 9 jokes and one of them was good, Bashor. You can find him at Sam Bashor. Sam Bashor never met her. Eric Voss was also...
That was worse than mine.
Yeah, but I'm a dad. So, Eric Voss at EA Voss. It's in the name. Is also here. That's such a good tag because it reminds me of The Sims.
Is that in
It
your Twitter
reminds
bio
me-
yet?
No. I'm
What
on
are
it.
you doing?
On it.
Oh, do you know what's in there? Hey guys, it's Tank.
Thanks in there. Tank will let me in.
Some tweets are written by Erik. Some are by Tank. And I'm Maude Garrett at Maude Garrett. There's only one other Maude Garrett in the world. She's from Nebraska. She's really cool. She likes what kind of music? Some punk kind of digs.
Yeah.
And she really loves The Walking Dead. And there's every chance she's watching your rundown. Hi, Maude Garrett.
Hi.
Remember to do, well done, Maude. That was so
Feels
great.
good to win.
Post your reactions on Stardust and tag us at New Rockstars, and so we can see it, and we might feature you in next week's video. Guys, comment down below and tweet us at New Rockstars using the hashtag #NeedToKnow. Like this video, share it around, subscribe to New Rockstars for deep dives into all the stuff you love. Guys, see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.